StrayAllDay.com.
Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. Today's daily motivation is about immunity to criticism. Understand that when you become a leader in your field, I don't mean necessarily just with the people around you or your team or things like that. I mean, you're achieving at a level that is higher than most of the people in your space. You're doing things that most of them are not doing. Then that means you are going to get criticized, because the only way you're going to get so far ahead of the rest of the field in anything that you do is you got to be thinking things that they're not thinking, doing things that they are not doing, either not doing, incapable of doing, or unwilling to do. And also, you got to be not thinking certain things that they do think. And you got to be abstaining from certain activities that they feel like they will always have to do. So you're going against the grain in more ways than one. That's the only way you're going to get far ahead of everybody else. It's not that you're simply doing the same stuff as everybody else and you're just doing it harder, better, faster than everyone. Even though many people think that's the way to get ahead, that's not really the way to get ahead. You can try it. It may get you marginally better than some people, and maybe even most people, but not so far ahead of everybody just doing the same stuff, because that's just a war of attrition. You're not going to win that way. So here's the thing that happens once you start going further ahead than everyone else, because you're doing things that are completely different than what everybody else is doing. People have options. And I wrote about this in my book, Work on Your Game, which is they could, one, look at what you're doing and say, okay, this person's doing things radically different from me, and they're thinking way different than the way that I think. So how about I look at what they're doing and see what I can borrow from their approach and start using as my approach. I mean, that's a logical, simple, rational thing to do. Some of you may even call this common sense, so to speak. But we know that this is not the way most people think. Most people do not think logically and rationally. Most people think emotionally first, then they go to the logic and rational thinking, maybe once they get past the emotion, if they get past the emotion. So what does the emotion say? It doesn't say what I just gave you as an example. What emotion says is find a way to pull that other person down because they're so different from me. Let me pull them down mentally in some way so that what they're doing is wrong, even though it's clearly doing something that actually works. So this is where people get into, in their own minds, saying negative things about you, or it may even travel to the fact that it becomes verbal. They verbally say things negative about you, or they're posting negative things about you, or they're spreading negative rumors about you amongst your peers and other people in the space and other people in your industry. Why? Because what you're doing is so much different from them. They can either do the work to figure out what you're doing and catch up to you, or they can criticize you so that everything you're doing is somehow wrong and not being done in the right way. So this is why you got to develop the immunity to criticism, because the criticism is going to come when you are so much different from everyone else. So you have to be very aware of the fact that this is going to come, and you have to be mentally, you got to develop the bulletproof mindset, which we coach you on inside of Work on Your Game University. I'll tell you about that in a second, so that you can deal with this, because this onslaught is coming your way once you start, putting yourself and your stuff out there. So with all that said, make sure you leave a comment on this video. Let me know the best insight and action step you took based on what you heard here today, that you know how to leave comments. Make sure you text me so you get my Monday motivation text. I send out every Monday for free, guaranteed to have you focused, sharp, and on point. My number is 305-384-6894. It's down below in the description. Work on Your Game University. You want to be coached with me directly? That's the only place I coach people. Link is workonyourgameuniversity.com. That link also down below in the description. And all the YouTube stuff, subscribe, notification bell, like the video, share this with somebody who needs to hear the message. Work on your game. Dre, all